Alright guys, so now I'm going to explain you these problems for the free fall problems. Okay, I have three situations right here, okay, in which we have this. Okay, for the free fall problems you can have that you're being given with the initial height, the final speed, or the time. So these are the three situations I have for you. The first situation is this one, in which you have the initial height. Let's suppose that you have a person in the top of a building that drops an object. Okay, so drop something that can be a rock or a ball. Okay, and you have the initial height, that is 60 meters, and you have to know the other two. Okay, so you already have the initial height, so you need to know final speed and the time. Okay, so let's begin with this. First thing you can calculate is the time it took to hit the ground. Okay, and to calculate time you can use the formula you have, that is the square root of -2 of the initial height divided by the acceleration of the gravity. Okay, once you do this, you obtain something like this. Okay, it's the square root of -2 times the height, that is 60 meters, divided by the acceleration of the gravity, that you know that is negative 9.8 meters per square second. Okay, so finally you will obtain that time it took to hit the ground is 3.49 seconds. Okay, so this is the first part. We already know the time. Now we have to know the final speed, or the speed that the object had when it hit the ground. Okay, so to calculate the final speed, you have this other formula. Okay, the final speed is the initial speed plus the acceleration of the gravity times the time. Okay, so you know that it is a free fall, you're dropping an object, so this is 0, the initial speed is 0, and you only have the acceleration of the gravity and the time. Okay, so that's the only thing you have left. You only need the time, and you already have the time, so you only have to multiply the negative 9.8 meters per square second and multiply it by the time that you already know, that is 3.49 seconds. Okay, so that will give you the final speed of negative 34.20 meters per second. Okay, so this is what you have to do to solve this first problem. Okay, now I'm going to continue with the second one, that is this one. Okay, in which you already have the final speed. Okay, and as you got the final speed, it's easy for you to calculate the time, because you can use this formula right here. I'm gonna write it. So the time, as you already have the final speed, is this final speed minus the initial speed divided by the acceleration of the gravity. Okay, so the time will be equal to the final speed, that is negative 70 meters per second, okay, minus the initial speed, that is 0 meters per second, because you're dropping the object. Okay, divided by the acceleration of the gravity, that is negative 9.8 meters per square second. So the time is 7.14 seconds. Okay, this is the time you have. Okay, this is delta. Okay, so now you already have the time. So to calculate the initial height, or the height from it was dropped, you use this formula right here. Okay, it's the initial height, that is negative half of the acceleration of the gravity times the time interval square. Okay, this is what you have to do. So you only have to substitute is the negative half of negative 9.8 meters per square second multiplied by 7.14 seconds squared. Okay, that will give you that the initial height of the falling of the object is 249.8 meters. Okay, so you already have these two results. Okay, you have the initial height and the time, and here you have the time and the final speed. Okay, this is also a result. Now, in the third situation, you already have the time, so this is the easiest. Okay, because using the time you can get both of the other two variables. Okay, because you have like the direct calculation. Okay, first, to get the final speed, you use again initial speed plus the acceleration of the gravity times the time interval. Okay, you know that this is 0 because you're dropping an object, and that will give you that it's a negative 9.8 meters per square second multiplied by the time, that is 6 seconds. Okay, and that will give you that the final speed is negative 58.8 meters per second. Okay, and then to calculate the initial height, you use the same formula we used previously. Okay, there is the negative half of the acceleration of the gravity times the time squared. Okay, so when you substitute this, it will give you something like this. Okay, it's the negative half of negative 9.8 meters per square second times the time, that the time is 6 seconds squared. So the initial height is 176.4 meters. Okay, so this will give you all the results you need. So as you can see here, you have the three situations. Okay, remember that you have the initial height, the final speed, and the time as the variables. Time is the key variable because the time can help you to get the final speed easily, and the time can also help you to get the initial height easily. Okay, remember to use the formulas you already have and to use the correct units.